It was a really bad night for the toilet rat last night, wasn't it? And for the Christian cockroaches in the Congress. It was a warning. It was an indication of what is coming in the midterm elections. And I think this will encourage the toilet rat to increase his terror against his country exponentially as we get closer to the midterm elections, because the toilet rat now understands, in addition to 7 million people in the last demonstration against him, the electoral process in this country is against him too. We even had two statewide races here in Georgia, for Christ's sake, in Georgia, for the Public Service Commission that went to two Democrats. First time that has happened since, I think, the 1980s. It's been a long time. And the Public Service Commission, of course, is an organization here in Georgia, probably in most states, regulates how much the energy companies can gouge us as they continue to destroy the atmosphere and life on the planet, right? Yes, indeedy. Anyway, the Virginia. Let's start with the Virginia governor, which was a real slaughter. Abigail Spanberger, who is, she's a centrist. She's not a liberal. She's a Democrat, but she's a centrist Democrat, which I tolerate as best I can. But she defeated the lieutenant governor, who's a Republican, Winsome Earl Sears, by double digits. Now, this matters because Spanberger first won a House seat in 2018 by running against Trump, and she repeated that campaign tactic. And the way she defeated the lieutenant governor of Virginia was to tie that woman to Trump's policies whenever it was possible. And in her victory speech, Spanberger criticized the toilet rat shutdown. She said this, quote, "Virginia's economy doesn't work when Washington treats our Virginia workers as expendable. And to those across the Potomac who are attacking our jobs and our economy, I will not stand by silently," end quote. Woo! All right, Governor Spanberger. The New York City mayor, that's the one that just, of course, it was expected. But I think that's the one that I am thoroughly satisfied with the outcome. Now we'll see what McDonagh can do. But he beat the slime ball Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent, supposed to be a Democrat. He never has been a Democrat, but what the hell. But he beat him by 9 points. And that little street thug, Curtis Sliwa, came in a distant third. What did he get, 7% of the vote? Who knows? Now, this matters because the toilet rat repeatedly singled out Mamdani for criticism. And now he's threatening, the toilet rat is, to withhold federal funding from the city if Mamdani won. And he was urging the voters to back Cuomo. Jesus Christ, these slimy people. Mamdani called himself, quote, Donald Trump's worst nightmare, end quote. And remember, the mayor of the city that the toilet rat grew up in is now run by a Democratic socialist, which I think is just absolutely sterling. Mamdani pledged to fight the toilet rat on key issues. He said this in his victory speech last night. Mamdani did, quote, "In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here, we believe in standing up for those we love, whether you are come on, Mike. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of many black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, whether you're a single mom waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with your back against the wall, your struggles are ours too." All right. How long has it been since we've heard an elected official, I won't say politician, elected official, make that kind of a statement? And Mamdani added this, quote, "We can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the struggle it fears. not the appeasement it craves. Oh, I like that. I'm sorry. What he really said, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not struggle, with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves. He added, quote, after all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. So, Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. I like that. I thought he was going to say something like, when he said, I have 4 words for you, I thought he was going to say, go fuck yourself. Of course, that would be 3 words, wouldn't it? Anyway, moving right along, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill. How's that, huh? Democrat. She also won her first House seat in 2018 midterms. She defeated the Republican Jack Ciattarelli by double digits. Now, it matters because Ciattarelli, who narrowly lost the governor's race 4 years ago after keeping his distance from Trump back then, ran with the toilet rat's full endorsement this time. Oh, toilet rat, what happened? And Mikey Sherrill, meantime, tied the Republican, Ciattarelli, to Trump's handling of the economy and the recent SNAP food aid cuts, among other things. This is what she said at her victory speech, quote, as the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, that was the big building project between New Jersey and New York. We here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children. We see how clearly important liberty is. We know that no one in our great state is safe when our neighbors are targeted, ignoring the law and the Constitution, end quote. And, of course, that last a reference to what this slimy son of a bitch and his little Nazi brown shirts are doing all over the country now. Busting people, beating them up, tear gassing them, shooting them, pepper spraying them, grabbing women, forcing children to hide. I mean, son of a bitch. What I'm hoping is that what happened last night is just the beginning of a true blue wave that will just wipe this slimy bastard completely off the electoral map permanently. Where was I? Oh, yeah, California Prop 50. That was the ballot measure backed by Governor Newsom to adopt a Democratic redistricting plan as a counter to what the Republicans, their attempts to gerrymander, not just Texas, but other states, and Prop 50 in California passed resoundingly. Now, it mattered because the measure will allow California to withdraw its maps to offset the Texas redistricting passed earlier this year, which will help Democrats stay competitive in next year's midterms. And Governor Newsom said after it was clear that Prop 50 was going to win by a landslide, he said, quote, what a night for the Democratic Party, a party that is in its ascendancy, a party that's on its toes, no longer on its heels, end quote. Now, as a quick aside, of course, it didn't take long. The slimy bastards in California, the toilet rats, the Republicans in that state immediately filed a lawsuit, right, to try to nullify Prop 50. Just in hours after California voters approved it, the measure that'll flip as many as 5 House seats for Democrats this year, which will offset the 5 House seats in Texas. But the California slimeballs filed a lawsuit this morning challenging the new maps. Now, the suit was filed U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. The suit argues that the new maps are unconstitutional because they improperly use voters' race as a factor in drawing districts. And their little lawsuit asks the court to block all these new districts from taking effect. Now, they haven't been withdrawn yet. They haven't been drawn yet. It's up to the voters. There's a commission in California that's going to draw them. But that lawsuit came the morning after California voters approved the redistricting measure, Prop 50. And that was, Governor Gavin Newsom pushed it to retaliate against the gerrymandering that leaders in Texas and other Republican states approved at the request of the slimy toilet rat. A little bit more on that later in today's podcast, or maybe tomorrow's. In Maine, question one, a conservative-backed ballot measure to add new restrictions on voting by mail and to require photo ID before casting a ballot, among other changes, lost by double digits. So when I say Maine question one, it won on behalf of the people in the state of Maine, not on behalf of the filthy toilet rat. Now, why does it matter? Well, the measure was the latest attempt to impose more stringent requirements on voting, which is an echo of what the toilet rat has called for since losing back in 2020. See, one thing about the Christian fascists, they want as few voters as possible because it's fewer people to control with fear and loathing. And the restrictions that the toilet rat wanted have tended to fare pretty badly on ballots. However, as voters like voting. So what was said, David Farmer, who's a campaign manager for the group Save Maine Absentee Voting, he said this in a statement, quote, "Maine voters know that our elections are safe and secure, and they sent a loud message today that they will fight to protect voting rights." Well, hallelujah. Also, I think in Maine, what passed was what do they call it? Family members have a right to petition a court now to take away someone's guns if that person has demonstrated that he or she is an addict or has severe emotional problems. Moving right along, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Oh, boy, this was a big one, too. The 3 Democratic justices on the state Supreme Court won what they call in that state retention. Supreme Court justices in Pennsylvania, is my understanding, serve 10-year terms, and the only way they can be removed during that 10 years, of course, is through impeachment. They were up, all 3 of the Democrats were up for re-election, for retention is what they call it, and all 3 won after an incredibly aggressive and expensive Republican campaign to push the Democrats off the court. Now, it matters because Democrats will likely still have majority on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court during the 2028 presidential election, and the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania might be called on to resolve election-related lawsuits. We know what that means, don't we? 2 of the justices won 10-year terms, while the third will serve until she turns 75 in 2 years. That's the state's mandatory retirement age for justices. Justice David Wecht, who was who won retention, told NBC News, quote, "I'm really honored that the people showed this confidence in me. I intend to serve the people with fidelity." Cincinnati, the mayor of and these local votes, these municipal votes, state votes, just like here in Georgia with 2 members of the Public Service Commission, which is statewide elective offices, won. It matters that the mayor of Cincinnati, Democratic mayor, defeated his Republican challenger in the state. Now, technically, the mayor of Cincinnati is a nonpartisan post, but it mattered, and this is kind of weird. The Republican candidate, Corey Bowman, is J.D. Vance's half-brother. And Bowman said he was inspired to run when he was attending the toilet rat's inauguration. Ha ha! So the guy who won, Mayor Purival, I guess that's, what a name, Purival? Please. I think it's Purival. Purival said that JD's half-brother called to concede even before the race was called. And Purival said that Bowman was very classy. He said he offered him an opportunity to work together, which J.D. Vance's half-brother said, okay, I'll accept that. Okay. Who else? Let me see. Well, that's just a snapshot of some of the serious races that the toilet rat thought he was, well, I'll just go, I'm going to win all this because I can do anything I want to. And this is the thing. I think people in this country finally, not you, not me, but the vast majority of people are finally starting to wake up to what this slimy bastard has in mind. That he's going to retain power. He's going to destroy the midterm elections because he knows that the midterm elections are going to render him, well, maybe another impeachment. And maybe this time a conviction. Of course, that would leave us with J.D. Vance, but I think J.D. Vance, Trump's pet ape, would be a bit intimidated from that point forward to know that his mentor, the slime ball, had been impeached and convicted. So the toilet rat is very, very upset about how things seem to be going. I hope it scares the shit out of him because I think the American people are getting to the point that they've had enough of this Nazi bully. They've had enough of Trump destroying the EPA, destroying the Justice Department, destroying divisions of the Justice Department, like the Civil Rights Division, the FBI, destroying everything he puts his little bony, garbaged up hands on. It gets rotted. The touch from Trump rots things, makes things collapse. For example, the East Wing of the White House. Trump in his goddamn gold filigreed bathroom. Oh, for Christ's sake. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.